The living world is filled with unparalleled beauties. Beauties represented by Mother Nature across this beautiful planet. A planet that's been the only habitat for humans since they came into being millions of years ago. The beauties of nature have forever captivated humans everywhere. Many of what humans have created over millennia were inspired by their natural environment. To many humans, the word nature conjures up images of mountains and forests, but nature has thousands of other beautiful facets, and some of those facets manifest themselves in sharp contrast to each other. One of the most beautiful faces of Mother Nature is the barren areas of land or deserts. Many nature explorers believe that deserts and steppes are the most beautiful parts of nature, and the most beautiful parts of these parts are the sand dunes and hills. But is there anywhere in the world with expanses of shifting dry sand dunes right next to a great body of salt water named the sea? Hi, I'm Javad Gharai. I'm an Iran trotter, and I'm taking you on a journey to the most pristine areas of this beautiful land. Chile is a beautiful country with unique natural exquisiteness. A country that remarkably has vast steppes and shifting sand dunes along the coast of the Pacific Ocean, offering a natural scene of unparalleled beauty. Of course, I haven't traveled to Chile's beautiful Pacific coast. My destination is the Bahu Kalat rural district in the south of Iran's Sistan and Baluchistan province. But I'm not going straight to Bahu Kalat. I begin my trip near the border between Hormozgan and Sistan and Baluchistan provinces. There are few places in the world where sand dunes meet the sea, creating a spectacular landscape. Such coastal deserts can only be seen in parts of Chile, in the Great African Sahara, and in the southwest African country of Namibia. Some may find it hard to believe, but in addition to those few places in the world, there is an area in southern Iran where expansive sand fields meet the Sea of Oman. A place near the village of Darak in Zaravan County. This is the border between Sistan and Baluchistan and Hormozgan provinces, in the southernmost area of Baluchistan on the coast of the Sea of Oman. In the past, this area of Iran was called Mukran, a name researchers say was derived from the word muk, meaning the palm tree. Given its large number of palm groves, Baluchistan can be referred to as the land of palm groves in Iran, an area with a beautiful history and peerless natural splendor. Unfortunately, the general public in Iran doesn't know much about Baluchistan. The sea, the sand dunes, and the Martian mountains, all in one place, provide an environment with no parallel in Iran and, I dare say, in the world. But the sand dunes, the Martian mountains, and the Sea of Oman aren't the only things that make this area of Baluchistan unique. It's the multitudes of palm and other trees scattered along this area, as well as the many herds of camels, goats, and sheep grazing among these dunes and mountains that make for breathtaking beauty. Here, Mother Nature has made all her efforts to create some of the most beautiful coastal sceneries in the world. And as you can see for yourself, she's done a great job. This is the result of millions of years of work for Mother Nature. So it's incumbent upon us and the authorities to keep these unmatched beauties just as they are, by not allowing any structures, however small, to be built here or in the surrounding area. Not even a few gazebos for tourists and explorers to use. We have to preserve this natural magnificence as it is. A geopark is a unified area that advances the protection and use of geological heritage in a sustainable way and promotes the economic well-being of the people who live in it. Geoparks are protected areas. Many countries dream of having one in its smallest and simplest shape and form. There are only a few geoparks around the world that are both geomorphologically rich and boast unique wildlife, history, culture, and indigenous populations. Countries with such wealth are few and far between. But this area of Baluchistan is home to several morphological splendors. It's also inhabited by Baluch tribes of a rich culture, their traditional lifestyle and time-honored customs, a pure, unspoiled natural environment, the preserved remains from the remote past, the golden sandy coastlines, and the deep turquoise blue waters of the Sea of Oman. The traditional fishing apparatus on boats moored at a beautiful port, and finally very good vegetation and animal life. As I walk on these beautiful sand hills, I think to myself, how are we responsible to the generations that will come into being in this country, to the natural beauties in our country? I'm spending today relishing the stunning untapped natural beauties in Zaravan and snapped several beautiful pictures. The nagging question is, do we have the right to deny the children of tomorrow the opportunity to feast their eyes on such spectacular scenery? I wish no structure, no roads, nothing would be built among these ancient mountains, sand dunes, and palm groves. No hotels, no themed amusement parks to be built for human recreation on its untouched coastline. Even a few simple gazebos in the area can accelerate the destruction of this region's ecology and natural landscape. I wish all of us humans had more appreciation for the natural world, this manifestation of God Almighty's beauty, and paid it due respect. I wish all nature-loving tourists would choose to walk into the heart of nature, and by doing so prevented any harm to it. A lot of people in the world think that if they really want to enjoy their expedition into nature, they have to spend the nights in multi-star hotels near their destinations. But that's not the right mentality. It's not in anyone's interests. Hotels that are built close to natural habitats do nothing but damage an intricate ecology that's taken millennia to be formed. There's an alternative way for explorers to both enjoy their trips into the heart of nature and for the natural world to be spared damage by humans. In other words, for humans to forge a partnership with the natural world. Local homes, kapars, and black tents, and also camping tents are the best options. All the people and officials in this area of Balochistan say they hope that in the near future, the area they live in will be registered as an important and valuable geopark by the relevant authorities living in the capital city. And by doing so, they hope the unique natural environment here and the culture and customs of the old Baloch tribes inhabiting this region will be preserved and protected. I take great pleasure walking about in this beautiful natural landscape and accompanying camel herders, but this is the end of this leg of my journey. I have to set off for my main destination, the Bahu Kalat district in the north of Balochistan. The main purpose of this trip is to visit an idyllic little village by the name of Shir Goaz, a lush, vast green patch of land 30 kilometers to the border with Pakistan. The name Shir Goaz was derived from the names of two wild animals, namely the lion and the boar. The locals here tell me this area is home to wild boars, but no one has ever cited any trace of lions here or anywhere in Iran, unless in the very distant past. Perhaps what ancient Shir Goaz inhabitants meant by the word lion was in fact the wolf or hyena. That's because those two species have lived in this region for hundreds of years. But what has brought me to this area of Balochistan wasn't the lion or the boar. I've come here to see the Asian crocodile. In local parlance, this rare species of crocodile is called the gondo. They live somewhere between River Sarbaz, Bahu Kalat, and Shir Goaz. The river you see to my left is the biggest natural stream of water in Balochistan. It is known by different names by the locals living in villages located along its 300-kilometer course. Monikers such as Sarbaz, Bahu Kalat, and Shir Goaz. My team and I have to walk a long distance to see one of those short-nosed crocodiles. But these gorgeous, thick-skinned aquatic reptiles in Iran are said to be very shy animals, making it difficult for us to find one. What that means is you can't get too close to these amphibians and admire their beauty at close range. We have been going about gunning for a crocodile for a couple of hours now, but we haven't been able to see even one just yet. As I say, they are very shy animals. The locals tell me I'd be lucky to see one, though they also say if you wait long enough, you'll definitely be able to see at least one. That guy swimming down there right now is around 3 meters long. The people in this area call them the gondo. Who would have thought that you could see gondos, the short-nosed Asian crocodiles, in a river in Iran's Sistan and Balochistan province? At their biggest, these majestic reptiles are 3.5 meters long. The primary habitats of the short-nosed Asian crocodile are in Iran, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, and Myanmar. The people of Shirguaz tell me the best place to see the gondos is the Shirguaz Dam, a barrier built to cross the Shirguaz River to impound its water. The number of crocodiles living in Iran has been estimated at between 300 and 400. The good news is the people of Sistan and Balochistan do not do anything to endanger the survival of these adorable reptiles. The bond between them is unshakable. In general, the Baloch are kind, nature-loving human beings, traits that are rooted in these noble people's culture and creed. The love of nature and of animals is part of the life and culture of the Baloch people. Animals are part of the family, among them wild animals. Probably if this were another city or country, many people would try and, man, this guy is strong. I bet if I let him go, he's definitely gonna break my bones or break my camera into pieces. As I was saying, if this mountain goat were anywhere other than here, without a doubt some heartless poacher would have gunned it down by now. But the people here love animals dearly. The gondos that we saw earlier, they're conserving them so well. Also this wild goat, that's very close to the hearts of the people here. You can see many peacocks, partridges, and pheasants in the households here in Shirguaz, and also in other villages elsewhere in Balochistan. Hey, ha! He's trying to hit me. I better let him go nice and easy. Man, this guy is strong. Can I let him go now? Will he run away if I do? The Shirguaz River flows past Bahu Kalat village, providing the hardworking community here with water for their farms, fruit groves, and animals. Perhaps there are many people in Iran who are unaware that the fruits grown in Balochistan can only be farmed in tropical climates. But that's exactly what's happening in this province. All of the Iranian banana produce comes from this region. Bahu Kalat is also among the important producers of watermelons in Iran. The cold season is when the watermelons grown here are harvested and distributed across the country. I've just stepped into a fruit grove in Bahu Kalat. In my opinion, this is a veritable piece of heaven. Here, you can see several different species of fruits right next to each other. Something you may not be able to see anywhere else in Iran. Fruits such as bananas, dates, mangoes, papaya, all kinds of citrus fruits. I've also been told that even coffee is farmed in some of the gardens here. It's just wonderful. I mean, you could go so far as calling this place Little India, located in southwestern Iran. Here we are. This is a ripe cluster of bananas. Well, not exactly, because they're still hard and green. Usually they pick the bananas when they're still green, then wait for a while for them to ripen. That's when they go from green to yellow, and that's the best time to eat them. All these bananas are only 10 centimeters long, but they smell and taste much better than the ones imported. Thank you, sir. It was great seeing you. Goodbye. So long. In the past, staple grains for all of Iran came from Sistan and Baluchistan. But what for severe drought spells and misguided planning over the years, the province has completely lost that status. But today, in some areas of this province and in the Bahu Kalad district in particular, all kinds of vegetables and tropical fruits are cultivated. As you can see right here behind me, there is a mango tree that's in full bloom, exploding with blossoms. In about 5 months, they will turn into delicious, juicy mangoes. This is heaven indeed. Walking around in the palm groves and other gardens in Bahu Kalad gives me a lot of peace. One of the most beautiful things I come across during my stroll is the Baluchi squirrel. The Baluchi squirrel, also known as the stripy or palm squirrel, is a unique species of rodents living in parts of Iran, Pakistan, India, Nepal, and Bangladesh. The most distinctive feature of this mammal is the dark stripes on a white background on its back. In the past, the inhabitants of Sistan and Baluchistan believed these stripes were the fingerprints of the gods. A typical Baluchi squirrel is between 13 and 15 centimeters from its head to the end of its rump, and its tail adds an additional 14 to 19 centimeters to its total length. It's quite refreshing to see Baluchi children playing and gallivanting around in the banana groves. Beautiful, pure souls, a product of their serene, peaceful surroundings. The children of Shirguaz spend the whole week waiting to go to the fruit groves near the village to expend some of their inexhaustible energy. What they also do is they cook their traditional food on their own, and just like their elders, they gather around, sing, and play. The kids here have such distinctive, innocent faces. They are just gorgeous. And they're all wearing their traditional costumes, boys and girls alike. All wearing traditional clothes. They are among the oldest, most original tribes in Iran. They're very noble and very patient. They are a people with a lot of patience. And although some of them don't have good living conditions, they are very patient folks. They're so content. Thank you, everybody. See you later. Goodbye. The Baluchi culture is the perfect example of a culture of nobility and peace. And those cultural traits are readily visible in the architecture of the old houses in this village. The architectural design is endemic to Baluchistan. You can't see anything like this anywhere else in Iran. There are also new houses in these areas with designs influenced by Indian and Pakistani cultures and architectures. One of the characteristics of Baluch families is their large populations. Wherever in the village I go, I'm surrounded by many of these little angels, offering a breath of fresh air after a long day of hard work. They fill my heart with peace and joy. Perhaps one of the reasons these kids are so happy is their beautiful, tranquil, natural environments. Just as influential is the beautiful, happy colors used in the clothes that these little girls have on. Clothes that are embroidered by the artistic hands of their mothers. Hand embroidery on colorful clothes and fabric is among the most important crafts of Baluchi women. And fortunately, Baluchi women have been able to preserve this exquisite art, a skill handed down through generations. It's noontime. It can get really hot in Shirguaz even in the middle of winter, but the boys of the village have a good solution to fighting the scorching heat. What they do at a time like this is jump into the waters of Shirguaz River and swim to their heart's content. These children usually play together in groups. The day offers an opportunity for me to make a return to the beautiful carefree days of my own childhood. Live life as an uninhibited, unabashed explorer of the unknown. Playing with these children serves as an outlet for the negative energy in me. Although the children in Shirguaz don't have much to entertain themselves with, they are all growing up happy, healthy, and strong by playing in groups and making the best of what their natural environment provides them with. No computers to spend the whole day on, playing virtual computer games that don't involve any physical activity, video games that have taken the place of playing outside for many kids today, outdoor experiences in nature, and plenty of physical activity that a growing body craves. These children's only toy is nature, going up trees, diving into the river and swimming, playing with animals, singing songs and helping their parents at home and on the farm, frolicking around and playing with stones and pebbles. This non-stop, joyful mobility is the reason behind these children's physical health and happy disposition. Very soon, I leave the village and set out for my next destination. I have to travel 250 kilometers to the west of Baluchistan, to a place 80 kilometers north of the city of Neekshahr, a name that reminds me of my country's beautiful north. Given its unique geographical location, Baluchistan has a diverse and strange climate. Some parts of this area is affected by the tropical climate of India, in the south by the Sea of Oman, in the west by the Jas-Murian Inland Basin, and in the north by Lut Desert. Surrounded by these different climatic conditions, Baluchistan features diverse lifestyles and various plant and animal species. Baluchistan is a dry, water-thirsty land. The average annual rainfall in the province is around 110 millimeters. But the important thing is, all that water comes down in only a couple of torrential rainfalls that cause the rivers in the province to overflow their banks. The ensuing flooding leaves behind a trail of destruction every time. The people here tell me they get snow and blizzards in some winters too, because of the mountains in the Gorgan area. Perhaps you'll find it interesting to know there is a place named Gorgan in Sistan and Baluchistan province. But no, it has nothing whatsoever to do with the city of Gorgan in the north of Iran. This area is comprised of around 11 villages, punctuating this mountainous area. It can get freezing cold here. The people of Baluchistan say, except for Mount Taftan and Mount Basman, the only other place where you can see snow in the highlands is the same Gorgan region in Baluchistan. It can get really cold here. Because of the altitude and the relatively good rainfall here, this valley usually has a good amount of water. And abundant water means life and prosperity. The people of Gorgan are either farmers or orchard owners or livestock keepers. The most important thing for them to be able to do any of those things is to have clean drinking water. The people of the first village I visit are very kind and hospitable. In my conversations with them, I realize all the young people in the village are busy working simply because there is enough water. Everyone has something to do. They're all grateful to God for all their blessings. Their biggest asset is contentment.
اسم این روستایی که شما زندگی می‌کنید چیه؟
جگان.
جگان؟ جگان چقدر جمعیت داره؟
جگان اینجا 10 نفر داره.
10 تا خانوار داره یا 10 نفر؟
نه.
10 خانوار داره. شما به این خونه‌تون چی میگید؟ به خونه‌هایی که این شکلی درست می‌کنید چی میگید؟
میگم تیپ.
توپ. آها، خونه‌هایی که
توپ نام برند ما گوشیم تیپ.
بله. خونه‌هایی که به این شکل درست می‌کنن دایره‌وار و سقفش رو به این شکل هرمی درست میکنن بهش میگن تیپ یا همون توپ.
تیپ.
بعد به خونه هایی که مکعب مربع مستطیلی درست میکنین اونها رو چی میگید؟ کپر. به اونها میگید کپر؟
بله.
حتی اگر از سنگ و چوب درست شده باشه بازم بهش میگید کپر.
اون که سنگ گل درست میشه میگیم بان.
اونی که با سنگ و گل درست میشه بهش میگید بان.
به این میگید
بادگیر. به این میگید تیپ. به کپر هم که مشخصه کپره. اون همش از
کپر هم باشی کاپار.
کاپار. به گویش محلی کاپار میگن.
I could say most of the things I've seen in this village were built from scratch by the men and women living here. They are all content with what they have. They even have electricity. They live a beautiful, simple, and healthy life, away from the hustle and bustle of city life and excesses that distract human beings from their true self and from nature. The Baluch community leads a simple lifestyle in their simple homes in Baluchistan. They don't even expect a paved road. The peace that these lovely people exude is a breath of fresh air against the vicissitudes of city life. I am so at peace when I am in their fold. Before long, I resume my journey and arrive in the village of Archanik, a bucolic settlement second to none. But it isn't the architecture and natural environment that lends Archanik its beauty. The most beautiful thing I come across is the hospitality of the local inhabitants. Archanikis are hardworking, hospitable people. Moments after I reach the village, One of the elders comes to welcome me and invite me to his beautiful house, and the family gives me the red carpet treatment.
بزرگان روستای اسم روستاتون چی بود؟ آرچنیک. اسمش سخت من فراموش میکنم. بزرگان روستای آرچنیک ما می‌خواستیم از اینجا بریم به سمت روستاهای دیگه ولی هر کاری کردیم اجازه ندادن، گفتن اینجا مهمونید و اجازه نمیدیم که شما از اینجا برید. خلاصه ناهار خیلی خوبی رو مفصل برامون تدارک دیدن و گفتن که این صبحانه است، ساعت 11 ظهر و میگن این هنوز صبحانه است، به ناهار هم میرسه و مهمونشون هستیم توی خونه بسیار بسیار زیبا که من تو هیچ جای ایران همچین خونه‌ای به این زیبایی ندیدم. کاملا گرد دیوارا و همینطور سقفش هرمیه و بسیار زیباست و با مردمان به این خوبی و مهربونی و مهمون نوازی مگه میشه که با آدم بد بگذره؟ چه جالب. این چیه؟
این دستاوه و دستشویی
آن برای شستن دست میاری. چقدر جالب.
حالا سنته میگه قبل از
خوردن غذا
دست رو باید شست. اینجا سنت به این شکلی قبل از خوردن غذا یکی از جوانای خانواده آبی رو با آفتابه میاره با اون ظرف اسمش چیه؟
دستشویی.
به زبان محلی چی میگید بهش؟
دستشویی.
آفتابه آب با دستشویی سنته که قبل از اینکه غذا بخوام کسی بخوره اینجا حتما دستشو بشوره. خیلی جالبه.
Personally, I have a lot of respect for the culture and customs of this lovely ancient tribe and have tried my best not to have a negative impact on the culture or any of the good social norms of this community. Instead, I learned from them things that I had no idea about before I met them.
آقا پیر محمد این خونه هاتون رو که بهش میگید توپی چی گفتید؟
تیپ.
این تیپ ها رو چجوری درست میکنید؟ چجوری ساخته میشه؟
این تیپ ها درست کنید به آبان شاب کاوه.
بله.
این شاب که درازگاه مثل بادامه.
بله.
ما ایشون گواتام.
I've had many trips to far and exotic places in Iran, and on those trips I saw many and varied village houses and nomad tents, but nothing like the teeps in the Gorgan region. Beautiful, modest homes that offer peace and tranquility, just like their natural surroundings. Village elder Pir Muhammad fills me in on how they build their houses.
آقا پیر محمد میگن که اول میرن توی کوها از یک درختی که یه درخت مخصوصی مال اینجاست بهش گفتید گواتوم چی؟ گواتوم. درختی به نام درخت گواتوم که مال این کوههای اینجاست ازش شاخه میکنن اگر شاخه بزرگ داشت اگر نه خود تنش رو داخل این خونه استفاده میکنن برای اینکه 4 تا ستون براش درست میکنن برای این خونه های دایره وار یکی شرق یکی غرب یکی جنوب و یکی شمال میگذارن یعنی 4 تا ستون داره و بین ستون ها رو تماما از سنگ و کاهگل پر میکنن و از یک درختی به نام درخت چشم بهش گفتیدین؟ پیش از یک بوته بزرگی که شبیه به درخت‌های کوچیکه که شبیه خرما هست از برگ اونها یک سقف خیلی زیبا درست میکنن به این شکل نیم دایره و با ریسمانی که خودشون از گیاهای اینجا از علف‌های اینجا تهیه کردن اون رو میبندن و یک در چوبی این در چوبی از چی ساخته شده؟
از همین درخته نمیدونم از توت
از درخت توت معمولا در درست میکنن و به این شکل خونه رو با کمک همه مردان مثلا 10 نفر میشن این خونه رو در عرض 2 تا 3 روز میسازن و توش زندگی میکنن. الان کمتر توی این خونه ها زندگی میکنن بیشتر این خونه ها رو که بهش تیپی درسته؟ تیپ. من هی اسمش فراموش میکنم بهش تیپ میگن بیشتر ازش به عنوان آشپزخونه استفاده میکنن و خودشون بیشتر تو خونه های 4 دیواری که از سنگ و کاگل درست شده زندگی میکنن. این غذا اسمش چیه؟ برنج چی؟ تباهه میگید بهش؟ تباهه یعنی گوشت و برنج. گوشت چیه این؟ گوشت بز و برنجی که با ادویه خاص این محل داره درست میشه بهش میگن تباهه درسته؟
این خشکه
چیه؟
خشک تباهه با انار.
آها با انار رو به انار به اضافه گوشت بز و برنج و حالا یه سری ادویه توشه. معمولا مردم اینجا به این شکل میخورن توی یک دیس بزرگ غذا رو میریزن و با دستی که قبلا شسته شده کاملا و سبزی‌های محلی که خودشون اینجا میکنن غذا رو نوش جان میکنن. بفرمایید. بسم الله.
My trip is nearing its end. That means I have to leave the beautiful Sistan and Baluchistan province and head back home. I leave with a bag of experience and memories as sweet as the dates of Gorgan. And I do so knowing that I haven't done any harm to the natural environment and the culture of this ancient tribe.
خیلی ممنونم. خداحافظ. خداحافظ. خداحافظ.